We know that ghosts, if they actually exist, were once living, breathing human beings. Since, as we know, human beings are more than capable of committing crimes, it may follow that ghosts sometimes seek to transgress against their former fellow mortals. The following crimes were alleged to have been committed by paranormal entities. Vandalism. Lisa and Phil Wrigley of Clifton, Nottingham, became angry about a series of attacks on their cars, while their neighbours often had objects stolen from their front yard. Finally, the Wrigleys decided to set up some home cameras to capture footage of the culprits in the act, but they were stunned by some images that resulted. At about 1:30 a.m. on August 1st, 2012, one of their cameras caught what appeared to be a swiftly moving child spirit in orb form, glowing white and seemingly wearing a hoodie, leaping over the roofs of their cars. The couple were shocked, and even skeptical Phil admitted that there must have been some paranormal explanation. Despite being cynical about ghosts, which he did not believe in, the footage definitely posed a mystery. Lisa, who was completely stunned by the images, described the footage as showing the actions of a young child of about 4 or 5, saying that there was no other explanation than that the vandal was a ghost. She was especially convinced that the being was no ordinary child because their dog would always bark if there were people around but made no sound that night. She interpreted the footage as showing the image of a child jumping over her fence, landing over the roof of her car, then flying down the street and back. She claimed that the strange figure resembled Casper, the friendly ghost, and accordingly there was no damage to her car that night. Theft. A former police officer who was charged with a massive theft in 2011 had a very strange defence. Joseph Hughes of Mount Gilead, Ohio, argued that the stolen goods found stockpiled in his basement were placed there by a ghost. The numerous weighty articles, which included several air conditioners and a generator, were believed to have been filched from the Morrow County Sheriff's Office because it was reported that one of the air conditioners had auditor labelled all across it in black marker. Admitting that his claim sounded quite ridiculous, Hughes stated that his family believed that there was some kind of paranormal presence in the basement who had perpetrated the crime. He told the court that there was even evidence to support his claim of the phenomenon. Although prosecutors were stunned by his creepy defence, they ultimately were not convinced, and Hughes was found guilty of 18 of the 20 charges. Kidnapping. In 2008, a Malaysian newspaper reported that a couple had returned home from a trip to find an exhausted, dehydrated and terrified burglar inside their Kuala Lumpur house. The distraught man was reportedly found clasping his hands in an apologetic manner for his wrongdoing, and also claiming that he had been held captive inside their home for 3 days by a supernatural figure. The ghost had kidnapped and held the man against his will with no food or water over the 3 long days. On calming down, the burglar explained that he had entered through the back door after the couple had left, but suddenly felt blinded once he got inside, like he was enclosed in a cave. The burglar said that he had cried out for help repeatedly over the next 72 hours, and that every time he tried to flee the house, he felt a supernatural figure shoving him down onto the floor. The owners called an ambulance and police, with police official Abdul Malik Hakim Johar later confirming the unnamed man's account of his bizarre experience. The seasoned burglar had told police that it was his first time encountering such trauma during a break-in, thereby admitting to other thefts. He was later said to be in a stable condition, but couldn't forget the weird entity who had kidnapped and repeatedly pushed him to the ground. Harassment. According to a CNN report, one Saudi Arabian family decided to take a genie all the way to court when they sued the household spirit, alleging theft and harassment. The lawsuit filed in court accused the genie of leaving family members threatening voicemails, stealing their cell phones, and throwing rocks at them when they left their house at night, as reported in Al Watan newspaper. The family had lived in the same house near the holy city of Medina for 15 years before becoming aware of the spirit over the last 2 years. The head of the family, who requested anonymity, claimed that they began hearing strange noises, then experiencing the annoying events, which became too much when the unruly presence scared the children by throwing stones at them. Despite the difficulties of suing an ephemeral being, the court was obliged to proceed with the case as all family members were witnesses, and a belief in invisible demonic genies is common within the culture. Indecent exposure. In 2011, Diane Carlisle's 4-year-old granddaughter inadvertently snapped a photograph showing an amorous encounter between a male and female ghost. Carlisle claims that the ethereal couple have reappeared several times in the living room of her Euclid, Cleveland home, where her family were the unwilling voyeurs. Carlisle even claimed to have seen the woman's high-heeled shoes. As a result of her report, Fox 8 arranged for a psychic investigator to visit the site, where ghostly apparitions seem a regular event. Carlisle claims her deceased sister contacted her via phone and left her a message that simply said, "I love you," and that she has seen ghosts in mirrors and playing with her daughter in her house. The investigator, Marianne Winkowski, revealed some personal information about Carlisle's connection to the man and woman using her home for their rendezvous, which she later verified as true. Having children in her home, Carlisle was also relieved when the amorous pair was moved on. Disorderly conduct. A teenager nabbed in 2006 for swearing at police and generally causing a disturbance used a unique defence. He claimed that the foul-mouthed utterings heard by the cops weren't his, but those of the spirit of a pirate ghost. While being detained and charged, 18-year-old Thomas McGair of Glasgow, Scotland, managed to declare that the expletives did not come from him, but from the pirate. Sheriff Rajni Swanee said she was intrigued by the strange claim, while McGair's lawyer stated in court that his client had been agitated because he had just seen a ghost. Although McGair admitted to a breach of the peace, he claimed that no alcohol or drugs were involved and stuck to his story of having been rattled by the apparition of the ghost of a pirate. Final word on the story was that his sentence had been deferred.